Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thriller, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Cindy Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Death.
And this week, we're continuing a theme that we started last week.
A theme that we just realized right before
we just
recording.
realized, and spoiler alert, we're going to continue it next week. So it's truly a theme. Chelsea will come up with a name in 4 weeks' time. Only retroactive. But we are starting off the middle of this theme. Sorry. With one of my all-time favorite movies from 2025. Hint, hint. The movie is Bugonia.
Spelled with a U, not an E.
With
Bugonia. Bugonia.
Bugonia.
Not the begonia.
Don't
get it
clear.
Twisted.
It is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who's one of my faves. And I'm going to give you the little IMDb logline real quick, and then we can get into it. Two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. Good. I have no qualms.
Yeah, that's very straightforward.
Yeah, I think it's like not giving away much more than was in the trailer. The trailer was also appropriate. I think there's like a good chunk of this movie though where you can summarize it without doing it's so premise pulls through for a long way before they start like mixing things up in any meaningful way. But I think it's one of those things where it's like they just give you an enticing premise and then they don't need to be. They're like, just watch that play out, girl. There's gonna be tension.
Watch it play out, and it just gets crazier and crazier as it goes. And it has some of the like most amazing performances I've seen in a minute. Besides, I just saw Marty Supreme 2 days ago. That was pretty awesome too. But it's not a Marty Supreme podcast. Don't get me started on it. But yeah,
although that would be in theme,
right?
It would. It really would, wouldn't it? But I really love that Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos have like become like cutie baby co-conspirators. Like she produced this movie, and so like she's been like attached to it from the very beginning. And like I feel like that's just like kind of like how they do business now. Like Emma Stone, Yorgos have their toes touching at all times.
They're like Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, but for weird freaks.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't realize that first until I was like looking at the credits this time around that she was producer, and then she's so involved in so much of it.
So was Ari Aster, right? Wasn't he a producer in this also?
Yeah. So this is one of the interesting things about this movie. Pretty much every Yorgos movie I've seen previous to this, because I haven't seen all of them, I haven't seen Dogtooth.
This is my first Yorgos.
This
is
movie ever. My first.
You have not seen The Lobster? I've not seen The Lobster.
Oh, I have seen The Lobster, actually.
I haven't seen The Lobster. I haven't seen The Favorite. I haven't seen Poor Things.
You haven't seen The Killing of the Sacred Deer, which I never shut the fuck up about. So
I know.
I don't know if you'd like that one, honestly.
Well, that's the thing, too. Like, I didn't even realize that was him. But you're always like, I love it. I don't think you would. So I'm like, I probably won't watch it. And then he has another one that's like Kind of Kindness or something like that.
Kind of Kindness.
That everybody.
Big, heavy.
Yeah, everybody was like, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one either. I really wanted to because it came out really soon after Poor Things, and Poor Things blew my fucking mind, as it did many people's because it won Best Picture.
I've always been meaning to watch Poor Things. I just haven't
it's so good.
gotten around to it. At some point I will.
I think you could definitely like Poor Things. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't, both of you.
I feel like I would like The Lobster also. I have never watched it.
I saw The Lobster and I was like, what was that when I finished? So maybe if I watched it with new fresh eyes, but I don't know what I thought it was going to be. It was not what I thought.
Well, Yorgos movies are pretty much always like that. It's just like
Weird. Yeah.
they're always like 40,000% weirder than you expect them to be. Um, and like Killing of the Sacred Deer, that was the first I ever saw. No, I'd seen The Favorite before. I've seen The Favorite, but I don't remember literally anything that happened in it. So I really need to revisit that one. But Killing of the Sacred Deer, I've watched many times. I made Adam watch it with me. I just am obsessed with it because it's so weird the way he like has people even act. Like that's why I was so into Barry Keoghan. And I don't know if what came first, if I watched this first or if I watched Saltburn first, but I love him, and that movie is a huge part of that. But this movie is interesting and a departure for him. I think he's usually involved earlier in the process. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see if he's involved in. Yes, okay, that's what I thought. He's usually like not always, but involved in the writing process for his films. And so this movie, though I think is a little more accessible than some of his other movies, I didn't expect it to not be written by him. But it's not. It's not written by him at all. This is a remake of a oh god, I should have had
Korean
it up.
movie. It's like Green Earth or something like
Save
that.
the Green Planet is what
Mm.
it's called. It came out in 2003 and it was directed by Jang Joon Hwan. And it was also written by Jang Joon Hwan. I started watching it today, and like it pretty much hits. Like I didn't finish it. I really want to though. I think it has a very different, like a pretty different tone, but like plot point wise, and in all the research that I did, it's very similar plot point wise, like big heavy hitter plot points. But like they took this story that I feel like is a lot more comedy feeling tonally, the 2003 film, and then like brought it into the US and the modern day because the story is very applicable to what's going on currently in this country and in the world. And so I think it was a perfect time for it to be adapted. And so Ari Aster comes into play because he had, I think, bought the script for this maybe, or was already in conversation with Will Tracy, who had written the script for this. Obviously in part with inspiration from Jang Joon Hwan. Um, and he tapped Yorgos and was like, "Would you be interested in adapting, in directing this adaptation?" And Yorgos was like, "Fuck yeah, this fucks." I think that's a direct quote.
Yeah, what I saw on IMDb, so this is not real research because anybody can write anything on there. Maybe yours is more accurate. Um, but what I saw on IMDb was that screenwriter Will Tracy, who wrote the like, here's how it could be adapted for like American modern capitalistic political blah blah blahs. They were like having lunch, and Ari Aster introduced Will Tracy to Save the Green Planet, that movie. And
Oh, no
that's what
way.
got the ball rolling. And then I think
Oh,
Jang Joon
cool. Yeah,
Hwan
I
was
didn't.
supposed to direct it originally, and then for personal reasons had to step back, and that's when Yorgos Lanthimos came in. And that's why he was like not involved with the writing, although he did do a rewrite because, like, as you know, he's all hands in on everything.
Yeah, he
So
wrote the first original story. So, um,
no, Yorgos Lanthimos did the rewrite, is what I'm saying.
oh, sorry, I thought you were still talking about Jang. Yeah, I just think it's cool that Ari is involved with this at all, and I thought that meant a lot more, to me. And we'll get into that later because I had some little hereditary pings happening for me in this movie that will be a big uh talking point because I might be just reading too far into things, and I think that I am, but it's okay. We'll get there. But yeah, I think that this is the perfect movie for me because I fucking love science fiction so much. I love alien shit all the time. And I just love this cast of actors too. Like I've been an Emma Stone fan for forever. She's really is spectacular in this. And I don't know, I just felt really prepared for this movie in a way that maybe made it so I guess the twist end was super prepared at the end for it. And so I was super happy the entire time and I was drunk when I saw it the first time. So I think I was open to new things. But I think that I know that this is a very divisive movie. And I read a lot of reviews where people were like, this was the perfect film. And then he threw it all away. And then people who thought that too. And then they're like, okay, I sat with it for a day and now I feel better. So it's definitely not everybody's cup of tea, but I was sipping on that thing and I was very, very happy.
Yeah. Sydney, did you know anything about this movie going in?
Um, all I remember is that it could have been used in Decembies, but
Yeah.
we didn't.
And I really thought it was going to be more of a spoiler. When Monica was telling us about the bees, I was so
No,
surprised
I
she was
would
telling us about
never
the bees, and then they're like the first shot.
Yeah, I was like, never fucking would do that. Do you know me at all? Chelsea's treating me like I'm brand new today. She's questioned like 5 things I've said.
Actually, and here's where she's wrong, and I'm fact checking her as she speaks. No, it's because we had a conversation about it. Maybe I also talked about it with my other friend who saw it before you did, and she really didn't like it, and she didn't like tell me spoilers per se. Like she wasn't like summarizing the movie for me when we were talking about it. But she said that she thought it was a really interesting movie that didn't stick the landing, and really just like the ending threw it off. And now that I've seen it, I understand why somebody would say that because it
Yeah.
seems like the ending turn negates a lot of the messaging potentially of what they're doing earlier on. I
Yeah,
don't know that I
don't
I
agree with that, but
yeah,
yeah, we'll
I
get
think like
there.
once you meditate on it a little bit, you can kind of see that those themes still exist within the film just in like a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Um but either I guessed part of it and she told me, or maybe there was a conversation with you where I guessed something and you were trying not to say anything and I was like, your lack of response is a response. Or something
I
like
would
that.
never.
But no, I think you were trying to play it cool, and then maybe it was just not you. Maybe it was just a conversation with somebody else entirely.
It wasn't me. It
But I
wasn't
feel
me.
like I was guessing things, and people were kind of like, and so I basically wasn't for sure, but I was pretty tapped into what I thought was gonna happen in this movie, which was a very good guess. Um,
Yeah. I was like, how boring would it be if there wasn't the twist ending? It wouldn't be boring. It wouldn't be boring. It's a very nuanced portrayal and there's a lot of interesting things. But I was just like, Yorgos is one of the freakiest people that I know.
yeah,
So
Can
yeah, it
I
would
anyway.
make a
be
spoiler?
him to be a
Can I
Yeah,
spoil it now?
we're spoiling it now. By the way,
Okay.
close your ears. Okay, bye.
I immediately thought she was going to be an alien the whole time.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's just Emma Stone or me looking at it, but her eyes were just too big. I was like,
That's just Emma Stone's face, man.
She has
I
such a
know.
Yeah.
captivating face.
But I was just like, eyes too big, alien.
She
Well,
looks
it's
like a little
such
freak and therefore
Yeah,
alien.
alien.
it's
Like,
hard because keep going.
no,
Sorry.
but I literally the entire time I was just like, she's an alien, isn't she? Like they were like doing all this stuff and she's just like, I'm not an alien. And I'm like, that's exactly what an alien would say.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Like, I always wanted to be aliens, so I'm always ready for it to be aliens. And so I'm happy. I'm having a great time. I get it if other people aren't. But like, I think the strong suit of this movie is that it really does keep you guessing throughout because Emma Stone's character can be Michelle. She can be like so callous that you're like, that's not a human person. But then you're like, oh, is she so callous because she is a human person and
She's a
she's just a
CEO.
fucking
Of course she's a
CEO
bitch.
corporate bitch. But then she has
Yeah.
these human moments where she shows fear that are super relatable. And then it's also the same thing on the other side of the coin with Jesse Plemons' character, Teddy. He is being so horrific and horrendous and falling into all these tropes that we see nowadays with like people radicalized online in strange and malicious ways. And, you know, he's hitting all of those beats and all of those red flags that you're supposed to look out for. But then he is also so human himself. And you feel compassion for him because he's been dealt such a raw hand and all this stuff. So, like, it's so nuanced on both sides And so it does keep you guessing, and like it's so based in reality. I feel like for the beginning parts of it, and it just feels like this is a crazy man. Like I don't know where I was going with that. I had a really good point, but it just left me. But like I think that you're so focused, you're so distracted by the prevalence of like by the relevance of Jesse Plemons' character, and like how that's so in the zeitgeist right now that like you're not even ready to entertain the fact that he could be right.
I was
Like,
just
why
so
would that be the case?
I was just so distracted by Jesse Plemons looking exactly like my cousin Kevin, but my cousin Kevin has red hair. Like my cousin Kevin has like the exact like same face, same long hair with a ponytail, like same beard, and I was just like, that's Kevin. I'm looking
You
at
gotta send me
Kevin.
a
If
picture of
Kevin
And I
Kevin,
was,
becomes
girl.
gay,
it's so weird. I was thinking that too.
I love Kevin, and yes, I saw
He's
the same
like, that
thing.
looks just like Sydney's cousin Kevin. That's crazy.
exactly.
Well, I
But
discovered that Emma Stone looks just like my friend Britt. So I was the whole time I was like, what
we're
is
all
it
being
about
distracted.
them? What is it? I really locked in on the second time and tried not to think about Brit as much. um, but yeah, I think it's so strong, led by these two incredible powerhouse actors at the top. But then we also have Aiden Delbus as Dawn, and I think he's really incredible in this movie.
Yeah,
He's
he's holding it down.
he's autistic in the movie, and I think he's also autistic in real life.
No, he's
Yeah.
autistic in real life. He's never
Yeah.
acted before, or maybe he's
Not
taken
in
classes.
Hollywood. Yeah,
Not in
he's done like
Hollywood.
improv and stuff and like
Yeah.
stand-up classes.
It's his first role, and basically they wrote the way the character was written, the way that Will Tracy wrote it, like wasn't explicitly written for an autistic character, from what I understood from interviews. But like there were beats in it that Yorgos was like, this would make a lot of sense if there was an autistic character playing this role. And so they put out a casting ad, and what's his name here? Aiden saw it and was like the physical description was very similar to his own description, and he was like, what the hell? And went in for it. And then yeah, he's like the heart of the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the true humanity of the whole movie. Like the not necessarily innocent, but like the humanity that the aliens are like think has been lost. The Andromedons, excuse me, think has been lost. I like he's bringing that like kindness into the story. And yeah, I think he just does a really, really great job. And also his fro goes crazy. And
He's got great hair.
It's beautiful and gorgeous little eyes.
Well, I also just think his character is doing some great work for the tension between Jesse Plemons' character and Emma Stone, because even if you go in being like, surely she must be an alien for real, or what are we doing here in this movie? Because I think without that turn at the end, not that I saw Eddington, but it feels like it would just be like giving Eddington, you know what I mean? Where it's just like,
not that I saw
not that I saw Eddington,
It, but it
just
feels
about
like
like
Eddington.
Okay.
modern
I also haven't
politics
seen it,
and
so I can't speak to it.
COVID and
I don't even know what Eddington.
conspiracy theories and cult
Ari Aster's
leaders and
latest.
blah blah blah. That was the one with Oscar Isaac and Austin Butler, etc. Not that I saw it, but those were the vibes. And so
Oscar Isaac? It's
Is that
Pedro
not right?
Pascal, and you really
like I
didn't see it.
said,
Pedro
I didn't see it.
Pascal, Joaquin Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix, and Austin Butler. I forgot about that, and Emma Stone.
Oh, that's exactly what I said.
You're thinking of Frankenstein. Very similar
No,
roles.
I think of Frankenstein.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It has Frankenstein vibes without the alien twist at the end. But
Remember the alien twist at the end of Frankenstein? That was crazy.
do you remember when they
That
beamed
people got
Frankenstein up to the
really-
spaceship so he wouldn't be alone forever in the Arctic Circle?
And he
People got
found
really
I
mad
do.
at that.
to be with.
They were like,
Yeah.
why did he change the ending from Mary Shelley's original intention? And I thought Guillermo del Toro is saying something and making it more personal to his life. No.
It was crazy when they revealed that Mia
Aliens.
Goth's character was an Andromedon and that she was waiting
That
up
was
on the ship for him.
crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's like kind of weird that this movie came out right on the heels of
It's just like
Frankenstein
they kind
2.
of copied it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's kind of weird.
It's a little
Anyway,
weird.
that was all bullshit in case you're confused.
What I was saying was that I think his character really brings like an interesting edge to that tension because again, if you go in being like she's gonna be an alien or whatever, and you see Jesse Plemons, even though he's presented very unreasonably in many ways, if you think that he's going to be right and vindicated, you also need that balance of like seeing the way that he loves and cares for Dawn, but also is absolutely like not bullying Dawn necessarily,
Manipulating him, for
manipulating
sure.
him, bulldozing over him is probably the more accurate way to say what I was thinking because you know the scene at the dinner table, for example, the spaghetti dinner. Apparently, this per IMDb trivia. Apparently, when Dawn asks to go to the bathroom, that was an improvised scene from that actor. But that kind of moment really like brings to the forefront what the dynamic is, where it's like you do what I tell you. I'm in charge here. Don't question me. You're subservient to me in so many ways. So it like really puts you in this position where even if you think he's going to be right, you're like, but he is an asshole, so is he right? Like even to the people he cares about most, he is so domineering.
Well,
Yeah, well, it makes you
Also,
not trust him.
I'm so sorry, like when he had him and his cousin do a medical castration.
Okay, I have lots to say about that. But
I
no,
also have something to say about that.
it feels like manipulation because, you know, like Don is obviously an autonomous person, but he has autism and, you know, he's like
He doesn't fully understand things.
yeah,
He's
has
looking to his cousin for cues.
he's
Yeah.
looking to his cousin for guidance, and his cousin Teddy is a militant believer in something that's pretty preposterous. And he's had a fucking horrible, shitty life. We'll get into all of that soon too. But like, he's 100% like Dawn says, I don't want to take the medical castration. Like, he doesn't say it exactly this way, but he's like, I wanted to be with somebody someday. Like,
Which is
he's
such like a beautiful little
That's so sweet.
way to put it.
it's so sweet. It's so sweet. And but he, you know, he too is floundering. I don't think we don't find out what the deal is with his parents. But they're not in the picture, so it seems. Obviously, Teddy's mom is in the hospital, and the dad like fucked off or something like that. I can't really remember.
Yeah,
He's
I
not
think
in the
that's what the cop
picture.
says.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The
That's what it was.
cop.
Oh my god, we'll get to the cop.
It's fucking
But
Stavros, that guy.
it's so fucking hard to discern what's going on. That's why I love this movie so much. It keeps you on your toes because he's looking out for Don. He really is, and you can tell that Teddy like really loves him, and like the way that Jesse Plemons plays it, it feels like he believes it so hard that it doesn't seem like half the time it seems like, oh, maybe he's manipulating him to get what he wants, but then the other half of the time it's like he believes this with his whole heart and he thinks he's saving the world, and so he's trying to save the world and save his cousin. That's the person that he's saving. It's the only person left for him to save besides like his coworkers who he wants to help them as well. But like he doesn't have that many connections to the outside world. It's all for Dawn. So yeah, it's like keeping you on your toes at all times. But I looked up medical castration and how it works, and can be reversible. Daphne, please. Daphne really has a lot to say about medical castration. She thought I said catstration, and she's going crazy.
She got scared.
No, that's not what I said. Castration, kitty. And you're a woman, so you don't have to worry about this. So basically, like it can be returned like naturally, like most of the time. Usually it can be reversed is the word I was trying to say. But it causes like insane hormonal shifts, right? In your
Which
body.
he
That's yeah, it
hints
like
at in the
Yeah.
yeah.
stops your testosterone. I guess maybe some other stuff too. Girl, I'm not a doctor.
Girl,
I don't have it in
I don't
front of
know.
me. I googled it 4 hours
Don't
ago.
take medical advice from this podcast.
Don't take the, but it like significantly reduces your T levels, which like suppresses your libido. But then it makes you more emotional because then like the estrogen in your body
Your
is more
balance of
prevalent.
estrogen.
Your
Yeah.
balance of yeah, exactly. Um, and it can even cause suicidal ideation. So keep that in your mind for later on.
Good to
Um,
know.
Well,
but
something
yeah, I
that I
think that's one of the symptoms. The common symptom is suicidal ideation.
that's super interesting, but I also my thought about that, and I'm sorry, I am going to talk about it right now.
Go for it.
Is I wonder if there was something to that because we get the reveal later in the movie. We get hints at it earlier, but we get the reveal near the end of the movie that he, Jesse Plemons' character, has done this to a good handful of people already.
Oh yeah, like
Um,
40 people.
And you get the sense that Dawn is very skittish around the idea of actually hurting anybody. He's like kind of on board with the idea that to hurt an Andromedon might be necessary, but he doesn't really want to do that. When they're first electrocuting Michelle, Emma Stone's character, he's so
Mhm.
scared. He's like, you're going to hurt her, you're going to kill her. Um, and so I think while it's possible that he's just been like shielded from everything up until now, and how things went wrong with the other suspected Andromedons in the past, who mostly weren't Andromedons, as it turns out. I wonder if Jesse Plemons' character kind of like put a spin on that to him, like, well, sure, it looks like they're dead, but they've returned to their ship, really, and
I
blah
don't
blah blah
think
blah
he was
blah.
involved at all before now because he has no idea about any of this stuff. He's like learning about all the Andromedon stuff. He's watching the videos for the first time. Jesse Plemons is explaining this to him like it's the first time he's ever heard of it. So I think
Mm.
that Jesse was working on his own and up until this point. And I don't know if like there's been a change in circumstance and that's why Dawn is in the picture now, or if he realized he needed extra help because he was had such a high profile person he was seeking this time around. But I really don't think he was involved, just like based on all of his interactions and also the all that shit that he had, all of the shit that Teddy had put in that room. That room is like locked. It's soundproofed on both sides. It's like got stuff in front of it. Like I don't know. I think he was hiding that completely from Dawn up until this point. Just because of the way that he's explaining stuff, it doesn't seem like a conversation he would be having with someone who's been involved in this process for literally 20 kills. Like it seemed like. That's
That makes sense. I also think it's possible. I mean, I only watched it the one time. And again, I had a sense of where it was going, but I didn't know where it was going. So I
mhm.
wasn't like looking out for clues necessarily. I was just kind of like sitting in a dark room trying to lock in, watch it all the way through because this is the first one in a while where I hadn't already seen it before we were doing it.
Mhm.
But maybe I think it could be one of those things where it's like he kind of knew something was going on, but now he's involved. And so it's like now I'm bringing you in a meaningful way where I'm educating you on how to be part of the process instead of knowing that I'm doing the process. Um, the suicidal ideation thing, that's just good information in general because if you don't have any other leap to make, that fills out a lot of the blank space there. But I don't know. I feel like there could be something to that potentially because it's like promise me that this is what's going to happen next and then he does it. So it kind of feels like he thinks that that is still going to happen afterwards. But it also could just be that his concept of death has been explained to him in a different way that he locked onto, you know. So
Yeah, I feel like it could go either way. I do think that this is his first time being like hands-on involved, and I think also the other part that I wasn't thinking about until now is the lunar eclipse was the, countdown was on for the lunar eclipse, which was obviously like a big like day in the calendar for Teddy, because he's like, that's the only way, the time that the Andromedons can make contact with Earth, something veil thin. I don't fucking know how it works. It's hidden by the eclipse. No one knows. No one knows. But I think, yeah, I think that this is like a momentous one in many ways, and like based on that, and me thinking that like he's bringing Dawn in for this one in particular, like maybe he did have an inkling that because he made it seem like he didn't think Michelle was like some higher up in the
Yeah, he thought she
Andromedon
was just
cycle.
admin at first.
Just admin.
A
But like
regular.
I feel like maybe he had an inkling, and then also this one is much more personal too, because she is they have interacted before. She is the CEO of the company he worked for, and the company that fucked over his mom and put her in a coma for 4 years or however long. Like this one is personal, so he's getting the family involved. Like it seems like he was working towards this, and maybe he knew that she might be a more powerful player, if at all. But again, he's been wrong like 18 times and thought someone was an Andromedon and they weren't. So, it could go either way. But there's
The
another reason why.
Alicia
Oh,
Silverstone jump scare was like I
she's
had no
always
idea
doing
she
that.
was in this movie, like none. And then it like immediately cuts to black and white. You're already jarred. And then they're doing like crazy acupuncture and she's just like levitating from a bathtub. I'm just like, what is going on?
I loved all of her scenes. I did not get them at all when I first saw them because again, I was drunk. And then I watched it yesterday and I was like, I still don't get it. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's just all symbolism in those flashback scenes. Like, obviously, it's not reality. Like, it's in black and white. It's different. She's flying in the air. Like, if we're believing
She's
that
like,
those
he's hanging onto her like a
are,
balloon.
yeah, if we're believing that that's like realistic portrayals of what happened at that moment, then we shouldn't be surprised that the aliens were real at the end. You know what I mean? But like the giant acupuncture needles were supposed to be like symbolic of her drug use because she's like addicted to opioids and stuff. And so it's like not just that she like got sick from the drugs she took from, I can't remember the name of the company, but I thought it looked like oxalotl.
Oxaloth.
Yeah.
Oh, it is like
Oxalith.
oxalotl. But yeah, like she had already been not the best mother, the most present mother for Jesse. Leading up to that, which led to a whole other slew of bad things that have happened to him. Enter the cop in this movie. What a fucking crazy part of this movie. Casey, the fucking cop, of course, he's a fucking cop now. But that was such a strange and like gutting aspect of this film. Stavros Halkias. Apparently he's a comedian. Were you guys familiar with him already?
I mean,
I
I haven't
wasn't.
seen
He
much of
looked
his comedy, but I'm
familiar.
familiar with him as like an internet persona.
Yeah, they wanted to like have a non-dramatic actor in this role so it could like change the vibes a little bit, because like it's such a serious plot point, but like add to the like awkward nature of him bringing it up because he is a comedic actor. Like a dramatic actor would have maybe come at it a different way. But I thought he was really really good in this, and it's just like so strange to see how it like plays out, being like, what is it? Was he a bully? Was he like, he's a cop, so maybe he just bullied him when they were little, but then it becomes like increasingly clear that like he probably sexually assaulted him, sexually assaulted Teddy, when he was babysitting him, which is just so horrific. And so I don't know, all these layers, like, and seeing the flashbacks with Alicia Silverstone and all this stuff, you're like, this guy has really been dealt like a fucking terrible hand, and like I don't like the direction that he's gone with it, but he's been like backed up against the wall, and like that's the whole point and the whole the whole thing they're trying to reference here, which is like a thing that happens in America all the time. So many people are like left behind, and then they're fucking pissed off, and then you Google search one thing one time on YouTube or something, and then you can be radicalized just like that. It's very exciting time to be alive.
Yeah, it's I was watching Industry actually
Oh,
yesterday. I started
you
Industry
need to start
finally,
it.
which was very relevant for the business bitchatron 3000 beginning of
Yeah.
this movie.
Yes. Oh my god, it's just so funny.
Really one to one. And there's also an episode of that where some guy is saying like, "Oh, I was on YouTube and I clicked something and then it gave me 8,000 white supremacy videos after that, basically." And she's like, "And you clicked them, so now it thinks that that's what you like." um, and it's so easy to get radicalized online because the algorithms are pushing that content. And as soon as you interact with it in any way, it's going, "Oh, you like that?" And then it's giving you a lot more. So people fall into these, and he kind of hints at that too. He's like, "Oh, am I in a rabbit hole?"
Well,
But
he even says, I've done every single one of them. I was
mhm.
alt-right, leftist,
Alt-light.
Marxist.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Alt-light,
like,
yeah.
yeah, literally, he ran the gambit of like different extreme views. And then he was like, none of those are right. Andromedons for me.
And how did he figure that out? Was it the book that he gives Casey the police officer? Like, did he just like stumble upon
I
them?
don't think
Like, how did
we
he
really get a definitive answer on
like
that.
what's the Andromedon pipeline from alt-right, alt-light,
He says
leftism to
you watch one
alien?
too many episodes of X-Files and you look at it from the wrong perspective. I always say I'm a huge X-Files fan, but I'm like, it's me and the rest of this podcast like it. A couple of all my bunch of my bisexual friends like it, and then everybody else is like extreme right wingers with the tinfoil hats who love the conspiracy theory aspects of it. And I have a lot of interesting fans of the X-Files. It's not all
It was me and
people
my
who
dad's
want to have
favorite
sex with both Dana
show
Scully
growing
and
up.
Fox Mulder.
I
Um,
do. Go ahead, Sydney.
oh, I was just gonna say like sometimes like I'll watch conspiracy theory videos because I do enjoy them every once in a while.
Sure.
And I'm always
Fair.
like, what if they're right? You know, like
Some
what
of
if
them
we're
statistically.
they can't
Bound to be
all
right.
be wrong.
Avril
So I'm just
Lavigne
like,
The
died
CIA
years
was
ago.
doing drug trial mind torture on people.
yeah, like the
Yeah,
CIA put crack on the streets. Like
it's hard to know what's right and what's true. I was radicalized just the other day because I saw a video about the ice wall in Antarctica and how there's dragons behind it.
But no,
I
I
started
think
watching
there's like
a lot of videos about it. It's not true, but what if?
but what if?
there are things like that that so enter popular culture sometimes to a degree that they seem like fun and lighthearted and have much darker origin stories, like the whole idea of like lizard people, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
always thought that that was like just a silly goofy little,
Is it
whatever, and it
racist?
turns out it's like an anti-Semitic thing.
Yeah, I knew. It's always
um
that.
No.
it's like one of
Yeah.
those like Jews secretly control the world type of conspiracy
Yep.
theories or something like that. So I
Yeah, I
I
think,
just like
was
lizard
so
people
fucked up.
conspiracy theories because I run cold and lizards are cold blooded. And I'm like,
it seems lighthearted. It seems like lizard
ugh,
people, mole people, it's fun, right? And then it's like some people are not doing it in a fun way. Uh,
right?
No.
but you can
No.
see how someone who is in those extreme online spaces where lizard people conspiracies do exist in our real world could sort of pipeline down to they're not lizards, they're aliens and they're from outer space and here's what they're doing and blah blah blah. Um it's interesting the way that they present it in this movie. Obviously a lot of it seems out of this world, if you will, because it's from outer space. But then there are the things where he's like, but I'm the one who invented and figured out how to identify them. Like I'm the one, beautiful Monica, beautiful addition.
Yeah.
She put her alien glasses on.
Incredible.
He's like, I'm the one that determined like how to identify them on our planet. They have shallow cuticles and whatever other like
Yeah,
Like thick
insignificant things that
hair.
whatever he's saying, and then he like
dense hair
shows you
follicles
her, and it's like those are normal things. So they
and
are like
overbite.
seeding it that it makes it seem like he is just a desperate person searching for answers, glomming onto anything that would give meaning to the suffering he's experienced.
Yeah, I just feel like they just keep throwing out points on either side of the spectrum though, you know, like mostly you write him off because that's the most overt thing. And he's not like this is gonna sound fucked up, but like he's not like a likable looking character. You know, he's like got greasy hair, he's not dressed well, whatever, and he's spouting all this weird shit at home. But then there are these nice moments where he goes to work and he tells his coworker like, you need to report this to OSHA because like they fucked you up and it's not fair. And like he brings honey to the office and everyone's like, oh, thank you so much, Teddy. Like he's like beloved in those spaces in a lot of ways too. So I think like when you watch it again and again, you see all these little details that they sewed into it to make you feel like you're guessing, but like, you know, your default here is you're not going to believe him because
it's
he's
crazy. It's a
kidnapping a
crazy thing to
woman.
say. Yeah.
He's kidnapping a woman. He's tying her to a
Mhm.
bed. He's smashing a chair and scaring the shit out of her. The look of fear in her eyes, finally, after her being so pompous and like holier than thou at the beginning of her abduction and being like, I'm smarter than you and I'm going to talk you out of doing this to me because
I'm
she thinks
business
she's
bitchatron
so
3000. I know how to
smart.
Yep.
negotiate.
Exactly. And like the setup too at the beginning of like her being like, you're saying diversity too much. It's like that. Like they're like, oh, go home at 5:30.
Unless you have work
But
to do, then you should
Unless you
absolutely
have work to
stay and
do.
do it. But if you have a family, then you should go. But your work should still be done.
But
But you could
again,
go.
this is a
Feel free to
business.
go unless you have work to do.
it's totally up to you. So it's like putting the onus on you to get fired, you know? Like it's just
Yeah.
like like she can sing Chapel Roan as much as she wants, but like she's not gonna be a relatable person until she has that moment of fear and then you see the humanity in her eyes and you're like, this is a scared woman, you know what I mean? Like this is a scared human. She's being, even though she's a bitch, she's being abducted. That's terrifying. And like Jesse has been, or sorry, Teddy has been so even keeled for the most part throughout this entire experience, despite saying crazy shit. You know what I mean? He's like been very like even and like being like, this is how it works, Dawn. This is, I'm explaining everything to you. I'm being very logical. And then like he loses all like objectivity in that moment, is filled with rage and like she, you know, it's just this negotiation between the two of them. It's such like psychological horror in this movie, and that's why I think it's something we can do on this podcast, and it's too late because we already are doing it,
Because
so
we're
I
already
don't
doing
care.
it.
We're already doing it.
One thought
But
that I
also like
had.
there's physical horror too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. One thought that I had while I was watching it that I forgot about until just now this moment was I obviously this was adapted from another movie from 2003. So lots of the plot points already existed, but I was wondering if it went into production or started to be adapted. It must have been before the murder of that United Healthcare CEO.
Oh
But that
yeah.
feels like a really relevant
Ooh,
cultural
yeah.
touch point. And as we know, Luigi Mangione has not yet been found guilty in a court of law, but has
My
been
man is
dubbed the
innocent.
people's princess
My man
in
is
Because
many
he's
ways
hot.
for even just being accused of being responsible for that
Yep.
act. And so you can see how under the right circumstances, someone like Teddy, even just for bringing down a woman who via business means is responsible for people's suffering and people's deaths and the loss of their
Yeah.
life, even if they're not dead. You can see how that could be presented in a certain way. But they really had a lot of fun like playing with the dynamics. I know in the 2003 one, it was a man, the CEO, so having it
Yeah.
be Miss Business Bitch, I think is a really interesting way to frame it, and I think that really allows you to present her as more like she's a woke business bitch. She wants them to leave at 5:30. She's like a woman, so she's humanist. She's not just exploitative, but then they're also like, but she is still a business bitch, so she is 100% exploitative. Um, but
Yeah,
the chemical
just because you're a woman
castration
doesn't make you not Miss Business.
yeah, she's still Miss Business Girl. The
Mhm.
chemical castration I think is a really interesting element because of the gender swap. Where it both makes sense that Teddy would be like, "No, girl, we gotta lock in. We can't have jerking off be a distraction for us," which feels again both relevant to those online fringe spaces where they are like
It was bringing in some
saving all
incel
their cum
vibes.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But also I think it was like a relief that they did that to like take the threat of sexual violence off the table for the movie that we were watching. I think if
Yeah.
that hadn't existed in this movie, there would be like a lot of um appropriate but unearned dread for where the movie was actually going, but you wouldn't know. You'd be scared that something like
Was
that
gonna
was going
happen.
to happen.
Yeah. Which would be our perspective as any person or as women watching it. But I also thought it was so like not funny, and it's a horrible point in the film, but like Teddy being like so worried about her using her feminine wiles
Her wiles.
as a powerful weapon against them. So you know he's preparing for every instance, everything that could go wrong.
Our man's
But
was prepared,
he was prepared. I thought
He's
another
done this
part
20 times before.
right?
exactly. But he didn't know he was coming up against the Empress.
The
Um,
royalty, the
yeah,
royal
he's also
line.
like so like not overtly misogynistic, but like there's some undercover like unchecked misogyny in here too, where he's like, sure, it would be an emperor. And he's like, oh, you must be close with the emperor, blah 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 blah. Like meanwhile, she's the empress right here in
And
front of
even once he's
him.
like, you're part of the royal line, he's still like, oh, you're related to the emperor.
Right.
Exactly. Like he can't fathom that it's her himself, and little does he know, like, and we can get into this more at the end, like he is doing the audition tape for all of humanity right now for If They Live or Die, and he's fucking botching it. They're not sending him to Hollywood. Like it's not going well.
I just want to
And
say he does not represent me.
it's too bad. It's too late. It's yeah, and we'll get it. I don't want to get too far into that yet. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Oh, one other point that I thought was so funny. It's horrific, but it's so funny. She's like, okay, so just so you know, you dumb bitches, like the whole world has stopped spinning on its axis because I've been kidnapped, and they're sending out the fucking National Guard and this bitch and that bitch. You know who they're actually sending out, Michelle? Fucking Casey. That fucking
Right.
guy. That's the guy who's on the beat. The closest to actually finding her is that fucking guy. I thought that was so funny. That was like a little subtle, like after the fact joke that I did a little chuckle for. Brutal. So brutal. Um oh, okay. I I just love how this plays out. I love okay, actually here, I have an idea. So when we things start to get a little hairy, after like she's tried to placate Teddy so many times and be like, I'm an alien. Hello, other aliens, it's me. I'm an alien. Send me cheerleader or whatever. And he's not buying it. And then she like really tries it. He's still not buying it. And she's like, can we start over? She's finally scared. And he's like, yeah, we'll start over and we'll start this over. Like it's a torture situation. And he straps her down and starts electrocuting her, and all of that. That is what led into a theory that I had that I don't think may not hold any water. but I really thought I was onto something. And I feel like there are like visual moments multiple times in this movie that lead me to believe that this is true. But then I found out a piece of information which maybe makes it not true. But I'm going to tell you my whole thing anyway.
Yeah, give us your theory, girl.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tell us the
so
conspiracy.
when he electrocutes her, he turns on the boombox, and the boombox is playing what funny song?
Green Day.
Green Day.
Yes, so good. That was so good. But the boombox, from what I could tell visually looking at it, is not plugged into the wall. I think it's a battery operated boombox. And so he's blasting her crazy style, 5,000 million volts. No one knows. I don't know about that type of electricity stuff. And like obviously the whole lights in the whole house are flickering and going crazy, but then the boombox also is flickering and the music is going like wah 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 and like slowing down in different things. And so I watched that, and when I realized that he's not plugged into the electricity, I was like, okay, maybe like she is emitting something that is affecting the battery operated device. Again, if there's an electronic or if a electrical engineer who wants to weigh in and tell me that I'm wrong, go for it. I'm going off of my gut right now. All right.
Right.
So I
It's
was
just
like, okay,
vibes.
it's just vibes. And so he's like, oh my God, that's crazy. She was emitting levels I've never seen before. And then he starts being nice to her. That visual when he's like wiping the blood and the cream off of her face and apologizing profusely is so haunting to me. So I really like that part too. But then when they're at dinner, they're having the conversation and she finally admits, or she finally pulls her ace card and she's like, "Oh, I know your mom is Sandy G." And I thought that was a really nice touch that she was wearing the same dress that Alicia Silverstone was wearing in the bathtub scene earlier.
Yeah.
So that was a fun thing. But she like finally like hits him where it hurts the most and is doing the same placating shit that she did before in that flashback that's like not going to get her anywhere. Um and but it's showing Jesse Plemons and he's getting angrier and angrier and she's like antagonizing him almost like maybe thinking that she's helping, but it felt like very antagonistic. And then there's like this weird thing that like happens with the light where there's like a lens flare, and then like immediately after that he fucking goes ape shit and like crawls all over the table and like knocks her down. And I was like, okay. And then after that point, there is a point where Dawn is down there just with Michelle, while Casey the cop is up there eating coconut cake with with Teddy, and that's when she like wakes up and starts her like charm offensive on Dawn, where she's like, I'm gonna convince him that he is a great kind man and he won't get in trouble
You
because
could have
he's not
shot
the
me and you
brains.
didn't. So you're
Didn't.
so kind.
Exactly. And then like he starts getting really upset with her, and like there's a moment where he has the gun and he's aiming it at her, and this weird thing happens with the camera where it's like wah 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 wah, and like looks crazy. Like it reminded me of the boombox thing, reminded me of the lens flare before. And then after that, he like sits down and like starts leveling with her, like sits on her same level, starts leveling with her, and then gets to the point where unfortunately he shoots himself and kills himself. And so all of those times I thought that she was like using some sort of like Andromedan energy to influence them and have them have these like emotional reactions. Obviously not the boomboxes in the person, but still she's being electrocuted. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. I can't wait to research this and find out like all about this, because it was giving me Ari Aster vibes in Hereditary when Payman, spoiler alert for Hereditary, when Payman like manifests himself in the scenes as like a ray of turquoise light, and like the light flashes over the room and that means that he's in control. So that, like I thought that like it was something like that, and she was like exerting control over these men and having them have like extreme emotional reactions so she could like control them when they're uncontrolled, or like like do something and get out of her enclosure when they're out of control. And I was like, I'm a genius, this is gonna be a great video. And then I looked it up, and they're like, when using a VistaVision camera, sometimes there are crazy lens flares, and we just decided to keep them. Girl, I created a world and I would like to live in it. I thought
Right.
that there's a lot
And
of
you
I
still
thought there's a lot of
can.
stuff there.
You can believe that, Monica. It's fine.
The movie
yeah,
experience exists between storyteller and story listener.
If anybody else saw what I saw and felt what I felt.
I felt similarly about the boombox until they cut to the outside of the house and showed that all of the electricals were going crazy. And then I was like, I guess the boombox must be plugged in and you just can't see the cord, maybe. But I agree. It felt like the boombox was maybe
I
he
don't
put it
think
on
it
to
was
like
plugged
cover
in.
her screams, but it felt like it was there to show the interference in the sound noise. This I felt like I was glad that we did Silent Night as a touch point recently for this movie.
Totally
But
agree.
also Pluribus feels like a very relevant
Totally
part
agree.
of the conversation.
Especially with the
Radio
end.
signals, the hive, blah 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 blah. I won't say too much because spoilers for Pluribus. Great show. Again, everybody watch. Everybody watch. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I'll
She
bring
bought
it
the
up every
sweater.
episode until everybody's
She
watching.
wore the sweater on the Silent Night episode.
You did.
But yeah, I agree that the boombox interference, it feels like there's something there, and I'm willing to believe it was just that the electricity in the house was going crazy and the breakers were short circuiting and blah 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 blah. But I don't know.
Okay, if you watch the part where he has the gun, it goes fucking cuckoo crazy banana clubs. Like the whole screen has like vibrations through it and there's light and stuff and it's like shaking around. And I was like, that's gotta be something. That's crazy. That's what put me onto this whole idea. And then I watched it again and looked for other things that could be it. And there was like a weird light thing that went on Jesse Plemons' face right before he went ape shit. And I'm like, okay, tell me I'm wrong. And everyone will in the comments.
And everyone was like, "You're wrong."
This
No.
That's fucked up. They're actually not in charge.
It's fucked up. And I think that I'm right. They didn't say I was wrong. They just didn't say anything about it and said
They're
that
just
sometimes there were
providing
lens
cover,
flares.
so yeah.
They didn't say there's nothing going on. They said sometimes there are weird lens flares because those VistaVision cameras are old as fuck and they rode horizontally something something.
The camera, much like the actors, improvised, and it
Ooh.
worked, so we kept it in.
Really quickly, since we talked about cinematography, I want to talk about the music really quickly in this movie. And something that I think that is very funny and very fucked up of our man Yorgos is he really likes to fuck with his composer that he typically uses. And let me find his name here. Jerskin Fendrix. That's an incredible name.
Great
And
name.
the director of photography, by the way, is Robbie Ryan. And he was handling all those VistaVision cameras. They used the same ones and the same lenses as One Battle After Another, which I thought was cool. They literally coordinated the shooting schedule with Paul Thomas Anderson so they could like piggyback off of it and use that.
That's fun.
Oh, okay. I have two more things. I have two more things to say about production really quickly. But anyway, composer Jerskin Fendrix, that's a crazy first name. He has cute glasses, love him, but he also did Poor Things, Kinds of Kindness. He's been working. They've got kind of like a crew set up as similar to if you watch all those behind the scene videos we did for Frankenstein. He's got a fucking crew that he works with, and they work really well together. They're in a flow. It's a similar thing going on in Yorgos Lanthimos' world.
Movies. And when I looked at Kinds of Kindness, it was like I recognized a bunch of names from like the cast of when he had the crew be background people in that movie too. So that's like his
exactly.
thing.
He's got his crew and they mesh well together and he works with his crew. He likes to fuck with Jerskin. Usually, he doesn't let him watch the movie before he scores it. He can read the script, but he can't watch it. He has to just do his own imagination. This one, he didn't even let him read the script. He didn't tell him anything except for bees, sci-fi, and like I don't know what. There was one other word that I can't remember right now, but it was like bees, sci-fi, like drama. Those are the things that he was going for.
It said that it was bees, basement, spaceship, Emily Bald.
Amazing. That's so good. That's
Emily
fantastic.
Bald.
Emily Bell,
Emily-
because Emma Stone's real name is Emily.
Oh yeah.
She went by Emma Stone because there
Oh.
was an Emily Stone who already had their SAG card. So she's
Oh,
like, I guess
yeah.
always
for
forget that.
Hollywood purposes, I'll be Emma, but her name is Emily.
I always forget
Isn't that
that.
weird?
So bizarre. But anyway, I just think that because of that, he created this insanely like robust, like overwhelming score. That plays at some of the weirdest times in the movie. Not like at times that are like very dramatic, like when Teddy is like feverishly biking around the town or feverishly biking to work or doing different things, like, and this big, gorgeous, booming music is happening. Um, but I think it really works too, and I think that like it psychologically for me also prepared me for the twist because I was like, it fills his actions with this like grandiose purpose because the music is like insane. It's like he's going to war or whatever. And so like watching it again and again, this is now my third time watching the movie. I really feel like it kind of like adds credence to his purpose as he goes through about the movie. Because it like, you know, it just feels more it feels like he's taking big swings. It feels more meaningful because, you know, he's got an entire like 1,000-piece orchestra behind him at the very least. And also like the way he incorporates like bee related sounds into it like is really really effective, and it really scratches an itch in my brain. I could just listen to the music for this movie on its own, and I probably will.
It was interesting to read IMDb trivia too because they talked about the set pieces a lot, like
Yes.
the house they built from the ground
They
up.
literally built it accurately to a house. Like it
That's
is a
wild.
literal house. And it's in England.
Yeah, they filmed in
Oh.
England for most of it. They filmed in Atlanta a little bit too, which makes sense because the setting is in Atlanta. So I'm sure they had to get some like establishing
Atlanta
shots
Well,
or
they had to
something. I
put
don't
in
know.
the electrical wires because in England, all the electrical is underneath the ground, and in the States, it's above the ground. So, like, the production
Oh.
designer guy was like, yeah, there's a bunch of idiosyncrasies you have to think about. And they, like, built it all from the ground up and got so deep into the nitty gritty, making that house look like a disgusting shithole.
But they also hit a bunch of hexagons in the house
Ooh,
to like evoke the imagery of honeycombs and bees and hives,
bees.
Oh, I love
which is
that.
really interesting. And he said he wanted the fact that Michelle is in fact an Andromedon, an alien, to be hidden in plain sight, and that he wants you to like look at her house and look at her office and think spaceship, even though they look very like modern corporate rich people bullshit. And pretty. Some people just like that aesthetic. But he wanted you to like look at it and get sort of spaceship vibes from it so that it's kind of like even without knowing a little bit what's going on.
It's so interesting. Like, the bees, the queen bee, like the
bees.
whole thing at
That
the
was the
beginning.
thing. I don't know that I
Yeah.
remember being like she's an alien, but what I remember guessing and having not quite confirmed, I was always like, oh, so she's the queen bee. Um
Mm.
Yeah,
was
but
what
that's
I
just in the
guessed ahead of
corporate
time.
structure. But yeah, I guess she's the empress too. But I think it's interesting because the whole thing is Teddy is like, oh, they've created this whatever the fuck chemical that is making the bees do this thing where they neglect their queen and they abandon their queen and they leave her to die with her young. And he's fighting so stop that from happening anymore so the bees can like rebound their population because they are so crucial to us eating any food ever or flowers or anything happening that's good. And they're dying at an alarming rate. But it's also like in contrast to what the reality of the situation is, where she's the queen bee and he's technically one of her worker bees because he works at her company and he's supporting the hive, which is this company, this like Pfizer like company,
Oxalith.
Oxalith, and he is like attacking the queen and hurting the queen and trying to get all the people to leave that queen behind. So I just thought it was an interesting juxtaposition. Like the reality of what's going on with bees and the reality of what he's actually doing, but he doesn't like really realize the depth of his interaction with Michelle because she is the emperor.
It's an interesting metaphor because it kind of positions Alicia Silverstone as the queen bee with her young who gets left behind by the colony to like flounder and die on their own, which makes sense from like his worldview of like
Yeah, that's
my
true.
mommy's my everything.
Uh-huh.
So to have her as the queen bee, because otherwise it's like they leave the queen bee to fester and die alone. It's kind of like, well, that's not really what the corporate world is doing. The corporate world is more like extracting all of the resources it possibly can out of the worker bees, not the worker
Mm-hmm.
bees. Um, moving on and fucking away. But I don't know. It's an interesting thing to like
It's not
dialogue
like a
with for the framework
perfect,
of the movie.
it's not a one-to-one analogy, and so I think
Mm-hmm.
it makes it more dynamic and more open to multiple interpretations. You know, it's not right there on the nose. I really like what these glasses do to my nose. It makes it like it kind of makes it look like just the nose holes that gray aliens have.
You're really giving Emma Stone.
I'm never gonna take these off. I think that this is the most snatched I've looked in days. um. Oh, what else? What other points do you guys want to chat about before we get towards our climax here? Oh,
I
I thought of one.
I
You
was
go.
gonna say I love when she's in the basement and she's explaining like, yeah, like we saw the dinosaurs and we unfortunately brought a virus over and killed them all. And I was like, is that how it happened?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that like if we can rewind really quickly and then let's go right into that. Like the precipice to that is um her sending Teddy on this fool's errand. And I
mm,
think so much is revealed in those 5 minutes. It's fucking crazy. Like it shows that Teddy really what he mostly cares about besides his like grand plan of saving the world, what he wants to save the most is his mommy, and he'll like throw his plan that he's been working on for years like out the window pretty much. Like it was very stupid to leave her there alone. Like the keys are in Don's pocket. Like this he's setting himself up for disaster, but like he is so willing to believe her because he's desperate for her to come back to him in some regard. And I just thought,
He's also in this really emotionally vulnerable place where he
yeah,
just lost Dawn, the only other person who's
person in his
meaningfully in his
life.
life.
Mm-hmm.
And like not that Casey was in his life and obviously there's weird shit there, but he also just killed Casey. And so he's in this place where you can see that he is like feeling shit is hitting the fan. And so it's like there's no time she is a wasting. We got to do shit now. If he just lost on, he's desperate. Not that he wouldn't have been desperate to save his mom before, but he's in this really heightened emotional state
That's
where
the
you
his
can see
last
how it like
person.
runs away from him.
That part of the movie I found to be just so incredibly devastating. Like
and
with the music
icky.
there, and he's just so he just so wants to believe that it can be true, and it's so obviously not true. Like even when she's like doing a pretty good job of doing her lies, then and she's like it's in the cart to for protection. Like
It's
she's not even
hidden. I
it's
disguised it.
I
That's
hid
why
it
it says
there. Like
antifreeze.
yeah, like it's not even a good lie, and then he literally kills her, and that kills his own mother, and feels that like the dread in his eyes, like the panic. And it's like not the same thing, but it's like really foreshadowing like the real end of this movie cuz like his belief he was right. Yes, we find that out, right? We already spoiled that. He
Mm-hmm.
was right and he knows this one thing. He knows that Michelle is an Andromedon. He knows that Andromedons are here and he's going to try to save the world. But he ends up being like the reason that all of humanity dies. And this is like parallels that situation, this earlier scene with his mother, where he becomes the reason that she dies because he's gone so far down this rabbit hole that he's willing to believe whatever he's willing to believe Michelle in this moment because he's desperate. But like, he doesn't realize the grave ramifications of everything that he's doing and everything that he's already done. So like, it's just such a like gut punch because it's been obviously an emotional film already, but I feel like there's a lot of levity in this movie too, which makes it like a fun, rambunctious, wild ride. Even
Yeah,
though
it's
we're
like a
dealing with
dark
really
comedy technically.
heavy topics. Yeah, exactly. But like this is just like, oh my god, like wind out of your sails. You're totally thrown through a loop. And then you come back to that part um with that Sydney was just discussing. And I think that like when I really started believing that the alien thing was true was just before this situation, because I was like, why the fuck would she not leave when she literally created this diversion for herself to leave? But then she sees this room and she has this curiosity. Like, why? I just thought that was so weird and strange and out of character for someone who doesn't have ulterior motives as well. Because, like, that's her time to go, girl. Even though her knee is fucked up, she got up half those stairs. She can get up the rest of the stairs. Like, what about this door is so enticing to her? Um, and I think that reveal is so insane, too. Because, like, again, you've just are feeling almost simultaneously. I don't exactly know what comes first. You're feeling extra sympathy for Teddy because like he's just been completely duped and end up doing this horrible thing that he did not intend to do. And then
He's
on the
murdered his
same side,
mother.
yeah, he's murdered his mother. And then you find out that he's actually a serial fucking killer.
It's a double
And
whammy, quite frankly.
keeps the head in a jar. I want a wet specimen of a human head. That's cool. And the hand. And like the pictures of all of them shaved and buttered up. Oof.
The
Um,
antihistamine cream. What a horrific little detail of the movie for them to all be antihistamine creamed up the whole time. And that
I
scene
love
where
it.
he's like, "You can go faster," as she's like
This isn't the
It's not
spa.
a
slowly, yeah.
So good. But yeah,
Yeah.
that monologue that you were bringing up, Sydney, is like when I was 100% sure that she was an alien for real, because I was like, whose reaction to finding out that she's actually in grave literal danger from a serial killer would be to lock in on the narrative story of her alien farce that she's trying to do right now. Like I was like, she's like got way too much confidence in that moment. And I don't know. I was just sure at that point that it was true.
Yeah, I think it is interesting because when he comes back, she basically says like, I didn't think you were going to kill your mother. I thought you were going to get caught before you would have the chance because you're running
You're
through
running
the
around
halls of a care facility
covered in
and
blood.
right.
covered in blood. Yeah, are in a beekeeper suit covered in blood. So obviously you are not blending in. And you'd think that a care facility like that, I mean, I guess if all of the patients there are bedbound or comatose, maybe you don't need to have like safeguards so that people can't wander off of the facility. So maybe you don't need to be like buzzed through every door like you would at a care home for um people who maybe have dementia or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there is a possibility that it's like she really did just believe that she is in a different movie where she's not an alien. Um, the reason for her not running away immediately and like taking the time to investigate more would be that she is the smartest girl in the world to herself, and she thinks that she's come up with this unflappable plan where he's going to go get caught by the police and there is no rush to escape before he gets back because he's going to be handled, and she can kind of engage with this.
I
But
feel you, but I feel like she's been rocked so hard and rattled so badly through this experience that would have knocked that pompous shit out of her system. at least a little bit. But like I get what you're saying. I feel like that is
Yeah.
definitely a possibility.
I think there's just so many times throughout this movie where she really thinks she can like talk her way out of anything. Um, even though she thought she was doing it just like one scene before with Dawn, and then it went a different way from what she expected, it still was in many ways a positive outcome for her because he didn't shoot her and kill her. And then she was able to get the keys from him, blah blah blah. Um, but I think it's so interesting that she does that because it puts you in this position of being like, she's discovered all of his research now. Is what she's saying another manipulation, her trying to talk her way out of it because now she knows, now she can convincingly give him what he's asking for. If she really was just a human before, he's like, you didn't even say it in your own language when you recorded the tape. You're just saying, I'm an alien. I want to bring you to my let me bring my friend to the spaceship with me. Like, not convincing, because if you're just a human, you certainly don't know what he's looking for you to say or how he's looking for you to say it. But all of a sudden, she has access. She knows what kind of person he is. She knows what he's been doing. She has so much more information about how to play him. But I also think that I think she's telling the truth in that scene. What she's describing to him about the Andromedons, because otherwise, I think kind of what would be the point of that.
She's telling the truth because we know what the end is, in my opinion, because she's seen how much he knows. Because, spoiler alert for later, he perfectly rendered their spaceship exactly perfectly. Like, he did it perfectly.
Well, I went and I looked up what they said about the lunar eclipse. And what they say is that the lunar eclipse will allow the spaceship to enter the Earth's atmosphere without being detected, which means if it's doing that on times outside of the lunar eclipse, it could be detected, which makes more sense about how they would be able to have such an accurate idea of what it looks like, as opposed to just like theorizing. Could be
do not lessen his win, Chelsea. That was very impressive. He gets one win. He got it right. He
was right about the shallow cuticles too.
Right. He got the spaceship exactly right. That was so funny.
And the hair, because that's how they communicate.
True. We never found out if the antihistamine cream was effective. But
I'm never gonna sleep. I'll lose sleep over that one.
But it's such an interesting origin story in general, the way that it's crafted, because it both like plays on the mythology that has sort of survived over time, the idea of Atlantis, the idea of a big flood and an ark. It sort of marries the idea of like a god creator with evolution as well. It's tying a lot of different ideas together where you can see how, if that is the truth of the human species and the planet, it would fork off with all of these different ideologies as the eons pass, where all of these different cultures and societies have their own conceptions of how Earth and people came to be. So I thought that was super interesting way to sort of craft that that origin story. But I also was kind of like, did they make all of the animals on Earth? And then if everybody got sick and died after the ark or whatever, and only apes were left, the apes just also happened to evolve into the same sort of humanoid creatures that the Andromedons created in their own image. Like, there's just a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that like her turn of energy in that moment felt really revealing to me. And then like just the hilarity of the like final scene, like still keeping you on your toes every second because everything is so preposterous. Like she's in the car, she's wearing the wig.
She's in a wig.
Every time she crosses paths with someone, they drive away, they call the cops the next second. Like you can see
Mhm.
every person being like, "What the fuck?" So like the cavalry,
Cavalry.
cavalry. Jesus Christ! I was like, Calgary. I've been thinking about
We're going
fucking
to Canada.
Canada too much, man. Heated rivalry. But yeah, like, and then like when Teddy gets out of the car, he takes a giant fucking rifle out of the car and sticks it down his pants in
Playing it
full
super
view
cool. Yeah.
of the
Of
valet
Tony.
guy.
Is that
Yeah.
a rifle in your pants? Or are you just excited to see me?
He's like,
Like,
ready to go to the mothership, baby.
it's so crazy. And then they finally get in there, and like, he's pulling the couch in front of the door. They can still kind of see through that thing.
Yeah.
Like, and
They can't see in here, can they? They can't see.
her performance with the calculator, I thought was so fucking funny, because it was like, really, you could go either way on that. Like, is she bullshitting and is she buying time? Like, oh, it's a 58 letter code. But also, like, she pulls this calculator out of like a silver box that's like hidden under her desk, and she pulls it out and puts it on top, which would be a weird place to store something. It's like a fancy box. So like, okay, it actually is like maybe something that she was like trying to keep hidden from being used by some random intern who's trying to do math in her office or something like that. Um and then I don't know, I think the performances at the very end are so interesting too, because I think Michelle, like, I don't know what her intention is as the Empress, still bringing him up to the ship with her, or if she really did intend to do that at all. I feel like she did intend to do that, but I don't, like, there's no way to know exactly what she believed and what she wanted, but she feels so pitying of him in those final moments where he's like, when they're still together, like when he has the bomb strapped to him, and she's like, "Oh, Teddy." Like, she seems like compassionate to him in a way that I didn't expect. And like, I don't know if she was going to give him one last chance to, like,
Do the
you
right
know,
thing.
not do the right thing, but like argue for humanity's sake, which was his intention always, to go up there and try to fight for humanity and get Andromedans to leave, because they're killing the Earth, where that's not the reality. If we're to believe the monologue we just were discussing. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what to think, because she puts him in the actually very heavy duty metal closet. So again, it makes sense again. I've watched this a lot of times now. And she like has the code in, and she walks away, but she runs away from the door as she presses enter, and the second that she presses enter, he blows up. So like, what does that mean? I don't know. It doesn't necessarily
The closet
matter.
judges you based on your pure heart and all that kind of stuff. And he was a serial killer, and it said you cannot come up here.
Maybe
Well,
it was some other code she put in there that she knew
the
would
self
like
destruct code.
trigger it
Yeah.
or something like that.
The EMTs gave the in-universe logical real world
Yes.
explanation as like there's some sort of heat reaction with the bombs, they're just unstable. And I think it could be possible that the in-universe alien explanation is that there was some sort of reaction between that and the teleportation device.
Or more simple than that, he heard her say 3, 2, 1, and got so excited that caused his temperature to spike, and it blew him up. Which is what I thought it was up until I watched it for the third time, and I was like, why does she run away though? Like, why does she run away
Yeah.
from the door?
I mean, maybe she has knowledge that like weapons like that can't be. I mean, again, it's so hard to know what she's saying, what of it is true versus
True.
what she's saying to manipulate
Unreliable.
Teddy. Because she says, like, of course we can't go in there together. We don't want to be our atoms to all get mixed up when we're reconstituted, which is both a feasible, logical thing that could happen. I've seen The Fly.
But it doesn't turn out to be true because she rides that spaceship portal with his half his dead corpse minus his head and doesn't come out
Yeah.
half Jesse Plemons when she gets to the womb up in space. So
well, but
like
if
that
his
can't be true.
material is dead, there could be.
Yeah, maybe it has to be like a
Spa-
living material.
It's still like flesh. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like
but it's not
Yeah,
dying
alive.
splinch.
it's one of those things. Well, we're never gonna get a.
Never gonna know. It
Yeah,
doesn't
we'll
matter.
never know for
I was
sure
just
what exactly was the
curious
deal,
'cause
but
I'm
it is
interested in.
interesting to be like, what is she trying to do in that moment? What does she think is
Yeah,
happening in that moment?
I think this is one of those movies that's really fun to watch again because like again, like even if you're guessing that she's actually an alien, you don't know until like 5 more minutes from now in the place we're talking about the movie. You still don't know for sure. So like anything could be bullshit and anything could be real up until this point. And then watching it again, you're like, okay, like can I figure out what was
I
actually
want
happening? And the answer is
one
no.
of those super cozy knit alien outfits they were all wearing at the
Oh my
council.
god,
Like, I need one of those biblically.
I
Oh, their
loved
luscious hair.
Yeah.
I loved all I loved how they revealed it. I loved how fucking like how shocked were you or like how did you feel when you saw her like run out of the
Ambulance.
ambulance? I was
I
like,
literally screamed, I knew it.
yeah, it's so good. They're like, "Oh, you can't go in there. That's an active crime scene." She's like, "Oh, I just forgot something." And just goes beep beep boop. Goes blasts off. But I this is and it loses so many people right here, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
fact that the aliens are real and that it literally takes us to outer space and it's so preposterous and sort of silly the way that it looks, but also beautiful and really awesome and womb like on purpose. Um, and I don't know, it just really worked so well for me because I was really riding the high of being right in my assumptions of the reveal. And I thought it was really gorgeous and like strange and bizarre how it worked and how it all looked. And I loved that he was right on so many things, but just because he was right on so many points doesn't give credence to all of the things that he believed in, all the things that he has done. And I think that's where people get really angry at this ending because they feel like you were saying earlier, Chelsea, like it deletes the message of the entire movie. But I don't think that it does it. It's not an on and off switch. It's just like the whole thing has been a nuanced representation of two very complicated people the entire time. And there's things to like about any of them and things to hate about any of them. And like the point is to find what is humanity, and to save humanity you have to maintain humanity, and he lost his humanity because he was fucking killing people, and he killed 18 people. I don't know why I decided he killed 20 people, but he killed 18 people and
I know.
only
I was
two
like, she must know
Andromedons.
something.
No, I just decided. I
What
was
does
like, that's
Monica
20 people.
know?
I know a lot. I put on the glasses, but like I don't get that
No, I
perspective. Like
agree.
I don't get that
Yeah.
perspective. Like get it in the sense of how my brain understands how you could get there. But like it's not, it didn't delete everything that happened before. It like recolors it, and I think it recolors it in a more positive way for me because like the whole point of this movie is like the extremes of America at this time, like people radicalized on either side. Like Donnie's supposed to be the little like moderate person who's just there in the middle, but like when you get so far to the extreme on either end, you're losing sight of the humanity of the other person, and when you start treating that other person like they're not human, then everybody loses. And I feel like that's like the thesis statement of the movie here. And I don't know. It didn't piss me off. I loved it. I love it every time I watch it even more. And I love the very very end of it, this movie, more than all of that. Like the tail end kills for me. But anyway, you guys, what do you guys think?
The visual of her like popping the bubble is great. But yeah, I think it is a complex movie because before the reveal that he was right about at least a lot of the Andromedon stuff, um, it seems like they're really both being presented. It's like a commentary on our actual society,
Mm-hmm.
as we know and understand it, presenting them both as real, vulnerable people who have humanity and love to give within themselves and hopes for themselves and their own lives, but also can be villains in the way that they
Mm-hmm.
interact with the world. He is willing to kidnap a woman and subject her to torture, and also 20 other people, we later find out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and she is also on this business bitch quest, and maybe at some point she had, you know, beautiful ideals of helping people, but the way that she's going about that is also hurting people, and she thinks that you can kind of just ignore. It's kind of the
You
same
can put money towards it to
worldview.
make it go away.
Yeah, of like you can also, you know, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. She's like,
Yeah.
sure, this woman is comatose and that is because of us, and that left her family bereft and her child alone, seemingly as a child.
Which is like, oh, it's
Um,
just one drop in the bucket.
yeah, and he's like, sure, I killed 18 people, but also in this larger purpose to save humanity. So isn't that a worth? They're both like, is aren't I on a worthwhile quest?
Wes, aren't
And
the
so I think that's
casualties
like,
along the way like worthwhile if it gets us to this greater this
isn't the end point going to justify what it took to get here?
It's
Um,
just the path, you know? It's the friends
right.
we
And
made
so
along the
that's
way.
like a very interesting dialogue to have and to start and to engage with. And then to go, just kidding, guys, it was all aliens. I can see how people feel that that gets like stripped away. But it is just kind
but
of existing still in this other sense of like, can humanity, is humanity still, is there hope for humanity? Is there hope for the earth, the world, society? Um, she sees them as a race that has been kind of, you know, it's they created this beautiful race of people who were all kind and made in their image, and then something went wrong along the way and they became violent, and that was what took over. Can they be saved? um I think at first I was kind of like, if she's just there to be this like godlike figure who is trying to bring kindness and peace to earth, why does she have to be a Fortune 500 cover of Time magazine business bitch who killing people along the way? But I think maybe the trials that she's talking about are real. She kind of says something about that in the
yeah,
spaceship. Well, they're
they
like, how
are
many
real.
people are left? And
The
they're like,
trials
it
literally
didn't
are
work for
real.
anybody. So
Mm-hmm.
it's both that like Jesse Plemons character, Teddy, put her through this experience where she goes, they can't be helped. And also, it's like what we were trying to do to figure out scientifically, is there something, is there another intervention that we can do? It's like, well, that's not happening anyway either. So it's like, really, there's no hope left for this planet. But it is
But
still kind of engaging with those same ideas of like, what are we doing here? Does the end justify the means? Can things be helped? Is there
I
good?
think it equalizes the Andromedons with the human race at the end there, because she tries to say like that, like she says herself, like, and you can believe her or not believe her, that like she's even become more human in her time as acting as one, because like look, she's making all this callous decisions too. They're talking shit about like the humans and how they've created a world like of war and blah 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 blah. But like, how is it any different than what she is doing? If she isn't the empress of the Andromedons, she doesn't care how many humans she's killing along the way to try to cure them of their ills or whatever. And like
She was
these are
perfectly
all
happy
the
for
same.
Alicia Silverstone to be a casualty times
Mhm.
two with the antifreeze
Yeah,
because, again,
this
it's
is
just a
just
means to her end.
a smaller like symptom of the same like energies that bring war upon people. Like, oh, I believe that I have the best idea about how the world should work and the whole world would be better if we do that. So I'm going to kill everyone who doesn't fucking agree. And like that's what's happening here, and that's what she ends up doing too. Like, she sees this, and instead of continuing to try to save an entire species, she decides that they are worthless and kills them all. So to me, she's just as bad as Jesse Plemons in the end, unless you want to believe that these Andromedons are like better than us and more evolved, but like
But
they've
she's
been
certainly
around
not
just as
running a
long.
utopian company. They're doing
No,
OSHA violations.
exactly. Also,
Mhm.
the Emperor before never wanted to kill the humans and wanted to keep them alive. And now she's the new guard and she's like, let's eradicate the problem, you know? Like, obviously, she was trying with the trials and stuff like that, but like, it's just, it's the easy way out to, like, you know, use the nuclear codes. Like, it's just, she's just eradicating everyone. And I understand why, like, people are like depressed by this ending because, yeah, it is very sad. But I read some take on one of the millions of articles I linked in the show notes below, but they were like, this movie still doesn't feel hopeless to me because it feels like a cautionary tale of what hasn't happened yet. And it's like a reminder of like the way to win is not to lose who you are as a person, is not to see your enemy in scare quotes as an enemy, to see them as a human and to understand the myriad of things that makes them different from you and why they might have gotten to this situation, and to have the compassion so you can try to meet each other on the same plane, which is the fact that we're human people with lungs breathing oxygen on the same rock floating through space, and like we have so much more in common with each other than we don't. But people forget that because there's a million reasons why. But like, there's a million reasons why someone doesn't agree with you, and they come back to similar themes that we can all relate to. Jesse Plemons' mom was was dealt a bad hand, was suffered from addiction, what neglected him, all these different things. Like, there's human reasons for all of it, and so just killing everyone and thinking they're all aliens isn't going to help, and just deleting every human off the face of the planet obviously isn't going to help either. So I don't know. I think that I was like giddy at the end of this movie, which isn't necessarily an appropriate reaction, especially as they pan across the entire world and everyone is dead and they
Which
play.
is a
Oh, what?
very great, cool, well done montage.
Oh, it was incredible. The cinematography in that was so fucking incredible. I thought it was like the perfect ending
And just
for
like
this
the
movie.
glimpses of all the different like societies and ways in the world and the way that like what it would look like if everybody just like bloop like turned off all at once.
Yeah. And this was like, very rarely do I like a zoom out at the end of a movie, but this was like so cool. This was so cool. It was perfectly done. And that song, what is the song? It's like a Pete Seeger song,
Where
Where
did
Have
all
All
the
the Flowers?
flowers go?
Go.
Yeah. Where did all the flowers go? Yeah, that song is about like young girls picking flowers for men as they go off. Oh, yeah. Flowers are picked by girls who grow up to marry men, who become soldiers, who go to war and die and are buried with flowers growing on their graves, is like the cyclical nature of the song. Oh my God. I just thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a brilliant ending.
It was
I
a
would have
great
liked to have
ending.
seen a few more animals in the end. We just see like one dog that kind of implies like it was just humanity,
There's a
but I would have
dog
Okay.
and a
liked
cat. There's a bunch of
okay.
birds.
Okay,
Yeah.
but also think about all of my animals would die because they'd be inside the house. Know what I mean? Like, or like they'd be in a cage, or like they're in a zoo, and know what I mean? Like, think of all like I thought
The
about that.
animals
Like,
that are relying on humans.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hazel would survive. Out of all of my animals, like
They get
Spooky and
scrappy.
Hazel,
She's
Hazel's
scrappy.
like She's joining like a coyote pack and she's in charge now,
Yeah.
actually. All the
Yeah.
other ones, they're not making it, unfortunately. They have
Yeah.
the survivors.
And that's Darwinism, baby.
Yeah.
I just think also the way that it is so sad too once you sit with it for longer. Like this one really stews and grows and moves inside of you. That sounded like a bowel movement, but it really like permeates over time. But like the longer you think about it, it is so fucking sad that like he had this valiant like reason to live to try to save the world, and he is the reason that it ended. And like to save humanity, he is literally the reason that it ended. He like was the last nail in the coffin for humanity, and it's like the exact opposite of everything that he wanted. It's a really tough pill to swallow.
And he also put a
but
spotlight on it all. You know what I mean? It's not just
Yeah.
that like she gave up hope that humanity could be saved because their trials aren't working, and she just had this horrific up close example of how people can be terrible and violent and angry. It's also, if she tried to just go about business as normal, you know, there's going to be an investigation into this crime. They're going to go, why did he take you? What was he trying to do? He has accurate information about the Andromedons. She certainly doesn't want that to be like blasted on a national stage.
Yeah. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, it's like the best intentions don't matter if you're violating the Geneva Convention. So that's
Right.
the moral of the story. Oh my
He
god.
really made promises about that Geneva Convention that he just couldn't keep.
Nope. He was quick to
Abandon
go
it.
right past that, and he had done it many times before. I don't think you're allowed to chop off people's heads. Oh, one other thing that I like to say is when its head blew off and it hit her in the head, hilarious.
Yeah, that was very funny.
Fucking so funny. The comedy points in this movie kill. I was hysterical. Anyway, I think it's time for our
Segmentos.
How Could This Movie Be Gayer? Unfortunately, we have one canonically gay character in the film, and that is Casey. But I do not claim him.
He
Is he
sucks.
canonically gay? We just know that he did something that he says was about power.
I interpreted
I
it
think
as
he
him
was
sexually
molesting him as a
him.
babysitter.
That is like felt really overt to me, and
I mean, it certainly felt to me like a sexual crime. I was kind of getting like Louis C.K. vibes. But the exploitation of power is I think it doesn't have to be motivated by sexual attraction.
Fair.
So I think we can disregard him entirely if we want to. But I thought when you were talking about canonically gay, I thought you were going to get into the chaperone of it all.
Oh yeah, I mean that was nice. There's a gay thing that happened, and it was Chaperone was there, and it's literally like a huge part of all the marketing for this entire movie was "Good luck, babe." And I think it's also
And
funny
apparently-
because it's like a send off to her, like "Good luck, babe.
Good luck. Yeah.
You're about to
Right.
get abducted."
Yeah, and apparently that was Emma Stone's song suggestion. And IMDb trivia like pointed out the line that's like you'd have to something, what's the line? You'd have to stop the world just to stop the feeling. Is it stop both times?
It's fight. Have to stop the world. No, it's stop both times.
Good. Why can't I type words? Good luck, babe. Lyrics.
You got it. You'd have to.
Yeah, it is stop both times. You have to stop the world just to stop the feeling. Which is, they were like, that's relevant for the end when she does stop the world. But I don't know. I certainly think, she's an Andromedon. They've got their own different things going on. We don't know how long she's been here necessarily. I'm sure they can make
how
fake
old
documents
is
or whatever.
she?
Yeah, like has she been here? Not since she was a baby, but I don't know. I'm not getting into that right now. They do have that interesting line where he's like, "You're supposed to be 45, but look at you. You don't look 45." And we know Emma Stone is like 35. And she's like, "I just drink juices and get expensive cosmetics. But so I don't really know how to read into her life on Earth and what's that looked like. Presumably, if she's been on all of these Time covers and stuff like that, she's done interviews about her background, but I bet she has a lot of resources at her disposal to whatever. But that's to say that she is living some degree of human life as a cover, and that life could be lesbian.
Power lesbian.
I think
I
she's
think
kind of
that
asexual, but
yeah, I get that vibe too. But I think that on the Andromedan space ship,
mhm.
everyone's in a big juicy polycule,
Yeah.
regardless
Yeah,
of
they're all like
anything.
non-binary.
They connect through their knit sweaters and their hair fuses together and they go
Mhm.
something like that. Something like that.
Kind of like
Maybe.
Avatar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like after. Oh, that's where I got
Just like
that from.
Avatar.
I forgot about the hair sex. I have not seen that in like 15 years. Honestly, I not watched any of the sequels or rewatched it ever, but it's still in there. The
Yeah.
hair sex is still in there. Any other gay thoughts? Look, I did
So
the
many
bit.
more gay thoughts.
First time this year. Matthew Lillard. He could just be anywhere in this film, but particularly I would love him to be the guy who sticks his ugly mug up against the glass wall when they are in her office right before Teddy blows up. That would be funny.
That's a good
to be like, who is
placement.
that?
I think
I also you go, Sydney.
it would be taking away a woman's role, but I think he could have been Emma Stone's secretary.
Sure.
Or
I
he
was
could
gonna
have been.
say
Oh, go ahead.
he could be the trainer that she beats up for her
Mhm.
self-defense workout
Yeah.
class.
That would be
And it'd
fun.
be a little fun to see him getting punched and such.
He could have been
Punch and
the
such.
valet person that she was like,
Tony.
"Oh, go home."
That'd be very funny. So many beautiful parts. He could be work at the he could be the nurse that looks out the window after Alicia Silverstone
Hey!
dies.
Yeah.
It's like, hey. It'd be a
I think
odd
he plays one of
place
the
for
bees
comic
in the
relief.
intro, but they didn't credit him for
Whoa.
that.
Yeah, I heard his distinctive buzz.
He's a cute
You
little
know that buzz
bumblebee.
anywhere.
Apparently they like really set up those hives in the movie weeks ahead of time so that they would have like a good colony going for those bees by the time that they were shooting. And then even though they
Yeah.
filmed on a scorching hot day, the bees refused to cooperate and pollinate things naturally so that they could film it. But thankfully they stumbled across another colony of bees that was out pollinating, and so they were able to film that.
That's so funny. Yeah, they moved a full colony of bees just into one of those things. The rest of them were fake, but the one that they like used and showed, they had real guys in there. Real house, real bees. They didn't really smash Casey's head in with the shovel though, so don't worry. That actor is still alive. Time for dumb bitch. Whoa, speaking of, I think Casey deserves a nomination because everything else is very complicated. There's valid arguments on either side, but I feel like we can all agree ACAB, especially child
Yeah.
molester ones.
And also he's not good at his job.
He's really not. And he also like won't leave well enough alone. He's like up in Teddy's biz. And it's
You
just, like,
forgive
you
me,
don't-
right? You forgive me, and I'm gonna ask you every time that I see you.
Can you give
Let me
me
just remind you
cake?
every single time that I've wronged you. And I need you to give me absolution because it does haunt me that maybe I'm a bad person. I don't know. But if you just say that it's fine, then actually I'm gonna move forward. But I'm also gonna ask you again next time, and the time after that, and the time after that. Like, girl, shut up. Leave him alone.
That's not how you get a forgiveness. That's how you get less forgiveness because people get real annoyed. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously arguments on all sides. Teddy's doing some really dumb fucking shit here. But also he was exactly right about the spaceship. So there's some
Yeah, I'm
smart
okay
bitch
to
things
give it
happening too.
to. I don't think he is doing the most obvious dumb bitch shit of what we see in the movie, but everybody else is also doing some smart stuff that balances it out, and he's not smart. He's not giving smart at any moment. So I think Casey could be the winner.
Casey. Great. All right. That brings us to our knives out of 5s. Chelsea, you have the stage.
Despite Monica introducing this movie as a very divisive film, it has a lot of positive reception. I think the people who didn't like it are maybe just some of the loudest voices. But on IMDb, this movie has a 7.4 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 80% or 88% fresh from critics and 84%, which is fresh from audiences. And it also went to a lot of different festivals, etc., etc. There's a lot of nominations, a couple wins in there. But the awards that I pulled just to highlight are from the 2026 Critics' Choice Awards and the 2026 Golden Globes. At the Critics' Choice Awards, it was nominated, and these awards already happened, by the way. So these are just nominations. It's not like we're waiting to find out if they won, but they were nominated for Best Picture, for Best Actress for Emma Stone, and for Best Adapted Screenplay for Will Tracy at the Critics' Choice Awards. And then at the Golden Globes, it was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. Which
They got
okay.
such funny. You'll be read who else was in that
Yeah.
section, and you'll be
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the way that they just like have to shoehorn it into one category or another for it to be in consideration, it's complicated.
It's
Anyway.
like, oh, it's never gonna win best drama, so you have to get it into whatever category you can. Anyway.
Yeah, remember when they were like, "Is Get Out a comedy?"
Right.
Should we just call
I
it
laughed-
a comedy
I
because it's
laughed
not
2
a
times.
drama?
And they refused
All right.
to acknowledge horror.
You remember those scenes where they broke into songs? So I think it is a musical, actually.
They played
Anyway,
2 songs.
yeah, at the Golden Globes, it was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, nominated for Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy for Emma Stone, and Jesse Plemons was also nominated for Best Performance for a male actor in a motion
Good.
picture, musical or comedy. So they
Deserved.
both got their flowers.
Deserved. He deserves that so hard. Okay, who wants to go first?
I can go. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. I think if I want, because I literally was like hot off the press, like watching it, and honestly, listening to y'all kind of discuss it a little bit more helped me be like, okay, because I was still in my feelings about it. I was like, I don't know,
Fair.
like, what's going on? Like, is this my cousin Kevin? Like,
Is this Kevin?
Kevin?
Did Kevin
Kevin.
not tell me that he changed his name to Jesse Plemons, got married to Kirsten Dunst, and entered Hollywood?
Exactly. Like, it's very valid. And I don't know, maybe I'll watch it again, maybe I'll make other people watch it, but like I still had like a good time. It was like, and now it does make me want to go and watch some more of his other movies just to kind of like
Yes.
see what's going on.
He really runs the gambit. He's not doing the same shit twice.
Yeah, I'm struggling with giving this movie a rating because I think to really know definitively how I feel about it, I would have to like let it sit for another week at least and then watch it again and then see what I think, having like the full picture on it and having like time to let my thoughts marinate. So it's really hard to say right now what I would give it because reactionarily, I am a lot more interested in the movie that it was before the turn, and with like the dialogues that I felt were presented in that version of the movie, which is not the movie that we get in its entirety. So it's like hard to say. I could see once I have like sat with it for a while, circling back to it and being like, well, what's actually very interesting about the twist is blah, 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 blah. So it's like hard to really land one way or another. But I think everybody's performance was incredible. Emma Stone is so captivating. Jesse Plemons is so captivating. This set design was incredible. I loved the cabinet, the like peninsula cabinet in his kitchen that was hexagonal. Um, to again bring that honeycomb imagery home. A lot of care certainly went into the making of this film. So I think from a technical perspective, it was very well done. Um, I just don't know if I liked it or what I thought about it exactly. So for now, I'm just gonna give it a tentative 3.8 because I'm very impressed with a lot of what it was doing. And I'm gonna have to circle back in the future and see where I land in a more permanent way.
I'm trying not to get angry at your reaction right now, so I'm moving straight on to giving this 5 knives out of 5. This is like my favorite movie that I saw last year, and that's in comparison to Frankenstein. But I think that I just loved it. I really loved everything it was trying to say, and again, like I said before, I don't think that the themes are like wiped away by the ending. I think it just makes it a little more complicated, but I think the whole fucking point of this movie is that it's very complicated and nothing is cut and dry. And like you can't just like write off like people who are obviously in strife like like both sides of the coin are guilty of this, like just like villainizing the people who don't agree with you, and so then you cannot see their humanity and you just think they're horrible fucking assholes, and like all right wingers think we are fucking horrible pieces of shit and we're thinking the same thing back, and it's not getting anyone anywhere. I'm not saying anyone should become more moderate, that's not what I'm saying, but we have to remember that we are people, and like when you lose the humanity you lose everything, and so it's like really impossible to see that right now, and so much is on the line and such a scary time and like lives are on the line and all of that, and so it's like a very challenging movie because just like how do we put this into practice, whatever this thing that you're saying to me, like how do I put that into practice, how do you do that, how do you be this great person that can stay moral through everything, and I don't have an answer to that, but I think this movie asks a lot of questions and pushes you to think differently or just to have more compassion in different ways, you know. And you can map that onto your real life any way that you see fit. But like I think it brings up those questions of humanity that we sometimes forget to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're saying it's a challenging movie, and I think that's part of what my thing is. I'm just still like wrestling with it, and that's why
It's fine.
I'm
We don't
landing
have
the
to
way
debate it
that.
right now.
No, I know. But as I continue to like sit with it, I think it's really interesting with the hopeful perspective of like it's so easy to give up and write everybody off, but that
Hmm.
final because I the alien stuff I think is what like really jars me out of
Yeah,
the movie to go whoa. But that montage of bringing it back and going and look at what is lost if you write off all of humanity. There are people who were in love. There are people who were with their families.
exactly.
There are children. There are old people. There are people who are swimming. There are people who are enjoying the beauty of. Yes,
Children
there
in
are still people
class
being exploited,
There's
but
people flying planes.
there's people flying planes,
on
but
boat.
Yeah.
there's people on boat. I think the ending is a really interesting
Look at what's at
way to
stake.
reground it a little and go, but wasn't there beauty here that they're overlooking? Um,
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't just go totally off the rails. Like if it just went to fucking Emma Stone in space, that would be cuckoo banana clubs for sure. But like I think the way it literally ends is turns that around and brings you back down to earth literally and looks at the reality that is at stake if things keep getting exponentially divided as they are. Like there are nukes on the planet. Like sorry to be so crazy, but like think about people's lives and the average human on the street, everyone being dead. Like it's just like it's crazy, but like it's showing the viewer that like these andromedons still made this a mistake too. Like that was a mistake. All of it's a mistake. Also, by the way, the earth is flat. That's another thing that this movie is saying. If any of you didn't notice that, the globe is a flat earth the entire time.
Yeah.
Just want to remind everyone that the globe you see in all those interviews, like one day total lunar eclipse, blah, 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 that's a flat earth. And when she pops the bubble, it's on a flat earth. So you take it all with a grain of salt. It's supposed to go a little hee hee ha ha. But I think that really
And maybe her mistake
grounds
is
it.
what she says. She's too influenced by humanity. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
She
She
decides
totally
to write
is.
off humanity because she's been corrupted by greed and selfishness and violence and anger and retribution.
And then you have to remember at the end of the day, like the Andromedons created humans, and so we are their creation. They're made in their image. So like how did we like spontaneously create hate? I don't know. But also they came to this earth and killed everything that was here. So like there's nobody who's innocent in this movie. There's no like great perfect alien god or whatever the fuck. Like everybody is flawed, and that's the whole point. Like everybody is flawed and everybody is human, and to be human is to be flawed. 5
We can
out
still
of
strive.
5 knives. Anyway, if you want to talk about it more, DM me.
Who's introducing next?
Do you want to?
Who cares? Yeah, you've seen it, right? I just did this one, so I feel like it's got to be you.
Oh, I feel like Sydney's the football girl, so I was gonna pass
I
her the
haven't seen
football,
it.
but oh, am I the only one who's seen it?
Yeah.
I've seen it, but I just
Oh,
did
Oh,
this
you've
one.
seen it now. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that hasn't seen it.
Okay, well, I guess I can do it. Next up, in honor of the Super Bowl, yay, so exciting. We love a holiday film. We thought we would enter the football realm. And I'm sorry, I was trying to spitball a theme name on the spot. Device of 2025 is not it, but we're gonna come up with something.
Device of 2025 is the theme so far, though.
That's basically the vibes. We are doing 2025's Him from Marlon Wayans, starring Tyreek Withers. And
Who is a doll?
and I'm just it divisive certainly is the word. A lot of interesting things in that movie to discuss. But also just
What
football
the
movie for
world?
the football week. So
I'm ready for
No,
sport
no.
ball.
simple.
Nobody knew that the world needed a football art house horror film, but Lord, did we get one. Can't wait to talk about it. Very
It's
interesting
interesting.
movie.
Yeah.
Very
I'm
interesting
interested
movie.
in watching it.
And I'm
Yeah.
interested to see what you think.
And I'm interested for you to write us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. We would love that as well. Or why not follow us on social media? That's the quickest way to DM me and fight me about the ending of this movie. I'm open to it. But we're at spooky_Tuesday on pretty much everything except for Facebook and Tumblr, where we are at Spooky Tuesday Pod. Also, we are on, I forgot about the website, www.spookytuesdaypod.com. One stop
We're there
shop for
too.
every movie we have ever covered. I should start doing #divisive if you want to find more movies that we fight about. But until then, you'll just have to look through the list. We're also on Patreon. That's the easiest way to fight us, actually, is if you join our Discord. We're fighting in
And
there
they're fighting
every
us.
day.
And they're fighting us.
Doing a
And they're
fight.
fighting us.
We're doing a fight. But it's a
We love
it's
to
a lovely fight.
tussle.
Right now, we're fighting about the platonic cuddling discussed in the last episode. Let your voice be heard. But yeah, join our Patreon. And we're also on YouTube. Today, we are looking absolutely gorgeous. Chelsea, would you like to start?
I'm Bugonia. So that I'm bald Emma Stone from Bugonia, and I have it's in the exclusive content, but I have themed earrings. I have a bee and a little moon on my earrings.
Very
So
into theme.
if you really want to be able to see it, you're just gonna have to become a patron, I guess. But that's a little glimpse for you.
Sydney is looking gorgeous with beautifully shiny coiffed hair today, and she's dressed as
myself. I have a
Exactly.
sty, so my eye hurts really bad, guys.
And I was just wearing a trench coat inspired by Emma Stone, but then I found my alien glasses and things have been cuntier ever since. So you're going to want to see this. But yeah, follow us on YouTube, and that's all the things that I usually say. Thank you so much
And
for
that's it.
listening.
And that's
And
all.
we will see you next Tuesday.
Goodbye, spookies.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Great18. That's GR818_, and our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can follow on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's RyanBrommArt. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.com and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/spooky_Tuesday.